Job security is a huge concern. Between massive layoffs, waiting for the other shoe to drop, and the lack of clarity around whether or not our industries will survive this pandemic, there's a lot of pressure to think about what's next or maintaining what you have professionally. But how do you network in quarantine? I talked to a career expert to get some advice on how we can socially expand our networks while also under lockdown. I'm Nicole Ellis, and this is Coping with COVID-19.
Networking is that you really want to do it when you don't need it. So you still need to approach it under that guise. And what that means is that the very first outreach that you do with someone can't be about your job search, even if it feels like that's 100% what you want to talk about. So at a time like this, during the pandemic, it would be asking people how they're doing and really just taking the focus off of yourself. And it will seem like, well, you're missing an opportunity, but the idea is that you should have a back and forth. And at some point, maybe even later in the same conversation, you can then turn it around to what's going on with you, because ideally the person asks you, or it can be the very next conversation.
In this environment where, millions of people are getting laid off or filing for unemployment, there is, despite best practices, there is this sort of sense of urgency around okay, I need to figure out my next step, my next move. What would your advice be for people that are in that kind of situation or under those circumstances where they don't necessarily feel like they have the luxury of stretching a relationship to two conversations to kind of get to the point?
In that case, I would say you're really running two job searches. The urgent search, where you really need to land something to get cash in the door, and your ideal job.
What would be your advice in terms of navigating or gauging who's someone to talk to right now for the short game versus delaying that? I think, a lot of us know a lot of people, but don't quite know where to start when you're grasping at straws or feeling like you're operating from a space of scarcity.
I would not try to remember who your connections are from memory. I would go line by line through your resume and through your LinkedIn and through all of your social media and actually look at your phone contacts and really remind yourself who you know. Especially with experienced professionals, we tend to forget that we have a bigger network than we do. I would make a list of two types of people. One type would be the people that really like you. You might think that they don't have any influence over a hiring decision. Maybe they themselves are not working and you think, well, there's no way that they could help me in any way, but you know that they're a fan of yours. They've always been a personal supporter. They always take your call. And really telling them that you have an urgent situation and being candid about what your situation is. The second list of people would be people that you know are in hiring positions. They are senior people, or they tend to be people who really know a lot of people and are very, very good connectors, and you know that about them. So you can still do some of those cold calls, you can still go after your dream job, but I would do it in parallel with some of the things that are going to be faster. I think at a time like this where we don't have the live physical connection, just connecting on a more emotional level, I think everybody appreciates that. And it also shows that you're aware of what's happening around you, and it's not just all about your job search or about your career, that you are reaching out and really connecting with people, asking them how they're doing, and that you care. And that's going to be very refreshing when people are anxious and distracted and incredibly busy.
So it sounds like a piece of this is not to rush it, to let human connection, really kind of garnering that relationship piece and establishing thoughtfulness before kind of going in, expressing your interest professionally.
100%. This pandemic is an opportunity in the sense of really showing how confident and how secure you are. When people around you are anxious, if you can be the candidate who can show some calm and can exude confidence when everything around you is going badly, that's very noticeable to employers. And people will want to be around other people that make them feel like, yes, this is going to be okay. So to the extent that you can really demonstrate that kind of calm and just confidence that things will get better, that's actually going to help you and differentiate you as a job seeker. And that's something that's very attractive to employers.
For more stories like this, subscribe to the Washington Post.